Chuck took one loss and said, "Alright, I'ma head out." Hello, my name is 1T, and in this series, I want to take time to appreciate action movies, specifically hand-to-hand combat. Nowadays, these big budget movies are always trying to outdo the other with crazy CGI and big stunts. So the use of quick camera cuts get put into the fight scenes to make them look more exciting when they don't have time to focus on the fighting. So I just want to show love to the originators and the ones that are still holding it down during these times, which are these hands. This series appreciates the movies that has a huge focus on fight choreography. And today I want to talk about Master Z. We start the movie off finding out that Master Shang has left the city after his loss to Ip Man, and now has become a hitman for hire. He tells his boss that this will be his last hit, and his boss gives him some goodbye hands in the form of Tony Jaa. Master Shang now owns a small grocery store with his son Shang Feng, as he now makes an earnest living. We then switch over to people not making an earnest living, including Nana, who's late on her loan. She tries to be slick, but today is not her day and she deals with the boss, Southside, and he's not with the shits. He demands that she finds a way or else. Meanwhile, Shang's little boy has a birthday coming up, so he goes out and gets him the best superhero as a birthday gift. During this time, Nana meets up with her sister Julia to get the money that she needs for the loan. Julia tries to leave with Nana immediately after paying Sal. I'm gonna butcher these names, so I'm sorry. But Sal wants interest. Julia replies with, "The only interest that I got are these hands." They run into Shang, and at first he's like, "I don't want no parts of this, I'm just trying to take my gift to my son." And once Southside was like, "Fuck them kids," Shang was like, "Well, I also brought with me these hands." The police comes right after and takes everybody in. Everyone is being interrogated, and you guessed it, the foreign commander in charge lets the bad guy get away. I'm not even gonna lie, Evil Colonizers is like a go-to for the Ip Man series. By the time Shang is able to leave the station, he hurries to make it to his son's birthday dinner, but they end up being too late. Luckily, the Batman toy saves the rest of the night. We find out that Southside is affiliated with the Shang local group, which is a crime family, but the main boss, Quan, wants to turn clean after being in the black market for over 10 years. She wants to end the stress that deals with being an illegal, and Southside ends up being the one who disagrees. Meanwhile, Shang Feng was with his friends, saying his father can beat Batman, when little did he know that Batman had already had prep time for it in the form of a bullying kid. He tries to defend his father's honor, but he's too rusty, just like his father. Bruh sound like Peter Griffin when he hurt his knee. Shang Feng misses his father teaching him Wing Chun, and it's obvious that his father misses it too, but that loss still haunts him at night. At least that'll keep him busy. Southside starts a fire at his home for the L he took earlier, and things are looking bleak for Shang and his son. With quick thinking, Shang was able to get both of them out of the home. But the thugs are still persistent, and with Shang Feng in his hands, he can't do much, so he clears it. Luckily, he sees Julia and hands his son over to her, so now he is able to do what he do best. You can tell the Ip Man series been making some money. They're now able to expand more on stunt choreography, and this scene of them leaping through buildings and signs while dancing shows this. Just as Shang thought he was in the clear, the hitman Tony Jaa appears out of nowhere and interrupts his plan. I love this fight, displaying Tony Jaa's Muay Thai skill set. He is another star I will be covering in this series, so don't you worry. Only by countering a left jab was Shang able to stop the fight in time to get back to his son. They take him to the hospital, where Shang and Julia bond a little bit before Fang fully recovers. Once again, the foreigner in charge says no foul play has been done and the subordinates are forced to agree. Shocking, right? Julia offers Shang and his son a place to stay since his place was burnt up, where we meet Julia's brother Hugh, who makes him work while he stays there because, you know, shit ain't free around here. Fang still has nightmares about the fire, which fires Shang up. So he decides to repay the favor and fight fire with fire. It's the next night and it's Shang's first shift and he's embracing everything around him. Oh look, there's a rude foreigner right here. Fang wants to play the smackdown on Buddy so bad, but Hugh comes in the nick of time to calm everyone down. The next day, Julia tends to Shang and Fang's wounds. While she is doing that, Sal finally sees what happens to one of his hideouts. Obviously wanting revenge, the head of Shang Lo does not allow these actions while they are changing their image, but Sal's like,
Whatever, I'll do what I want.
However, his goons on the other hand are scared of Boss Lady Quan, so they can't relate. While Shang is at work trying to be good, Boss Lady Quan comes in and just doesn't help him at all with that goal. Bruh's like, hey, what are you doing? Take this drink. I'm at work. Yo, take this drink. Hey, come on now, don't let it spill. That's on my tab. Hey, come, man, I ain't got time for. Yo, hey, bro, drink. The damn. Stop playing, bro. Dog, drink, bro. Take the damn. I am fucking insist. Take the drink. After she stops playing, she reveals the reason why she's here. She's here in the form of a financial apology for her brother's actions. Shang said he's good, and Quan tells him to think about it at least. Sai, on the other hand, not only can't get over the L he took, but the shift in the organization as well. So he decides to do under the table work until he can leave his sister's shadow. Shang heads to Hugh to pay rent when he reveals that he knows all about him challenging Ip Man. So of course he wants to see what those hands are close up. During their spar, Shang catches some serious PTSD and gets carried away. Hugh bothers him about not using Wing Chun, but Shang heads out anyway to see what's left at his crib. The very first thing they are able to salvage is the greatest detective in the universe. Batman can survive in the DC universe, so of course a little bit of fire can't kill him. Julia and Fang starts messing around with the practice stand, and Shang catches more PTSD. That doesn't stop him from connecting with Julia though. Later that night, the entire crew goes out to dinner, which gives Master Shang a second chance on giving his son steak for his birthday. The head owner, Owen Davidson, sounds foreign if you ask me, even comes out to deliver the cake. Owen then heads out to host an auction for charity that is happening at the same time. As the auction is going, the Shang Lo group decides to make a big statement to say that they're here and out in the open and done with the shadowy business. Unfortunately, their reputation is too strong and no one is trying to hear what she has to say. This uproar forces Owen's hands and excuses Quan out the room, and the party is pretty much over after that. Meanwhile, Cao Sai is still out there in these streets, and after Shang pops up on one of his dealers, Shang starts to get ready because there's more to come. The foreigner turned out to be crooked? I'm shocked.
Oh no! Anyway,
Cao Sai and his homie drops in to make a deal, and Owen plays the only one can make it out card, like this was a game in Saw. And Cao was like, well, I ain't a bitch, so.
I would have worked with you, even if you hadn't killed him.
Meanwhile, Shang has already snitched about the drugs in his community, and Cao's sister is not happy. Too bad she wasn't able to do something in the time that Nana gets an uncomfortable visit from Cao and forces her to OD. Julia comes to find her after the deed is done, but it's too late to save her. Cao Sai and his sister finally have their long-awaited talk, and it turns out that Cao had plans to form a mutiny anyway. But none of that shit matters either, cause Shang and Hugh burst in the room, pissed for obvious reasons, and an all-out brawl begins. Actually, it's just a very long ass whooping. Tilly gets to the mini boss and finally makes Hugh put in some work. This gives Shang enough time to confront Cao and Quan, forcing Quan to find out about the death and defend her younger brother without any other options. So now it's Shang versus Quan and Hugh versus her right-hand man. This is a nice setup for this dance though. The two rooms apart are decorated enough to add the separate feeling of the fight, yet the open space lets us get a glimpse of both dances and how close they are to each other. Hugh saw that Shang needed a shift and gave him a smooth assist to even the odds. Cao Sai wakes up and heads for the gun and starts firing off at Shang. Cao Sai is not careful enough though, leaving himself wide open. Quan sees this and quickly acts in the only way she sees fit to save her brother and have everyone satisfied at the same time. To seal the deal, Cao is forced to give up the location of the remaining hidden drugs. This doesn't please Owen one bit and starts to come up with a plan of his own. He sends the police to raid Hugh's bar. They then plant drugs to frame Hugh so that they can send him off. But instead of the police station, a handcuffed Hugh is taken to Owen instead. Owen sets up a last feast in the middle of nowhere to set up the beef he got with Hugh. Owen lets him fight for his life, but the disadvantage of having his hands tied and the fact that Owen's a bigger build is just too much for him. The brutality of this scene is reminiscent of the Ip Man 2 boxer scene. Hugh dies, and as Shang views the body, he sees the crucial evidence leading back to Owen. The Shang Lo company is pretty much in shambles and shuts down, and while they're thinking of their next move, Shang gets himself together to take Owen on himself. He gives a heartfelt speech to his son and then he's off. Before Quan slides out, she has one more job for the assassin for hire. Shang makes it to Owen before he flees the scene, and once he is discovered, they waste no time to pop off. Just like Hugh, Shang is having a hard time with Owen's size and durability. What makes this worse is that Owen can legitimately dance a little bit as well. Shang even tries some Muay Thai, but even that can't get to Owen. Things are getting dire for Shang until he decides to finally get out of his PTSD and use his best dance to win the fight. Now that he's in Wing Chun mode, he focuses on his counters and pressure points as Owen looks as readable as Dr. Seuss. While Owen's power can still be a game changer, Master Shang is now more comfortable to redirect his attacks. Shang also bought a little bit of real estate in Owen's right abdomen because his attacks found a home. Shang hits Owen with a Freddy Krueger move. Owen runs out in time for the crooked police to arrive. They try to frame Shang and things get out of hand with Shang and the public, so bad that the Chinese law enforcement has finally had enough and decides to take a gamble and arrest the foreigners. Owen then tries to escape, but Tuxedo Mask over here wasn't having any of that. We end the movie off with Shang living a new life with Julia and his son. This movie was fun, although story-wise nothing really stood out. The cinematography, choreography, and original soundtrack was just as clean as Ip Man 3, so it was a really good fun movie to watch. The next movie ends our Ip Man series for now with Ip Man 4. Like if you like the video, subscribe if you like the content. Until next time, y'all be easy.